Okay, so let's talk a little bit about equipment and the basics of the golf club. So every golf club that is an iron has a club head, the face, and then the expanse of the face is kind of like a shoe. The inside part here is called the heel, and we've talked and referenced it in some of the videos. Out here at the very end is the toe of the golf club. Then there's the hosel that connects the head of the club to the shaft, and then the grip, which is what we hold and swing. You want to add anything else to that?
No, as we start to go through this, sometimes we assume that everybody knows what everything is. So we have irons, we have woods, which really aren't wood anymore. They used to be when we grew up, but they're now metal, so they're called metal woods for some reason. Metals just never really took off.
Right.
Right? And then you have obviously the shaft and the grip. And understand that the grip, we can replace those, right? So if you have an older set that feels kind of slippery or you have a lot of indentations, right? That is something that we can fix. And they're approximately about $10 to do it, and it'll almost be like you have a new set.
Yeah, it's a great plug for, all the Fargo Parks courses do regripping.
Right.
And you can almost invent a new set at a fraction of the cost by just taking them in, having your pro check it, said, okay, it's time to regrip them.
Right. Okay. So now we have some irons here, right? And we have numbers on the bottom, right? What do the numbers mean, Tom?
Yeah. So let's start with the wedge. That's a pitching wedge, which is one of your most lofted clubs. So if I turn it, it's going to look a little different than the 8-iron and the 6-iron. So the higher the number, or as you get into P and sand wedge and the other numbers, the 60-degree lob wedges, those are shorter in length and they have considerably more loft. So they don't go as far as the 8-iron and 6-iron, but they serve the purpose of when you get closer to the green, you're going to choose these clubs over the 8-iron and the 6-iron, which you might hit from the middle of the fairway.
Right, and there is no set distance.
Right, everyone has different
Everybody
distances.
has different distances. So just because somebody else uses a 6 doesn't necessarily mean you're going to use a 6 or an 8 or a wedge, right? So those are your option to use, at whatever distance you are. Generally speaking, they're probably approximately 10 yards apart, 5 to 10 yards apart, depending on the number.
Yeah, so they're built with that variance in the loft.
Right.
So you've got a 10 to 15 yard gap. A great thing to do is to come out to one of the Fargo Parks ranges. You've got markings for distances to the flags and see how far you not hit and roll, but how far the ball carries with each of your clubs. Then kind of log that in your phone, or there's even apps for that kind of stuff now. And you can get an idea of when to choose the golf club when you're out on the golf course.
Right, and there is no preconceived, you have to use this club at this time, right? You can basically use, obviously outside of a putter, and obviously when you first tee off on a golf hole, you can use a tee, but you can use any club you want to use. You don't have to hit a driver.
Right.
You certainly can, because it's probably the one that hits it the farthest, but probably the hardest to hit. But you can always tee off with whatever club you want. You're not dictated. The rules of golf say there's a lot of rules, but none of them say you have to hit a driver. You could hit 8-iron off the tee if you want to, especially as you're learning how to play.
Yep.
Loft is always going to be your friend when you start. So don't grab stuff that doesn't have a lot of loft to it when you first start. You'll gravitate towards clubs that have loft because first they're shorter, like you said, and they're a little bit easier to get in the air.
Right, and as you move through your journey as a golfer, there's a great opportunity to use your golf professionals in the area as a reference to go in and go, hey, I've had this set of clubs for 3 or 4 years. It was my first set. Now I want to progress into something a little bit more meaningful. What should I get? And there are lots of great products and companies that we carry their products here at Edgewood and the other courses, and you can have that conversation, or even sign up to get a fitting to use a high technology piece like a launch monitor that's going to give you how fast your club's moving, how far your ball's carrying and rolling, and that can use as a gauge to determine what club is best for you.
Right. Golf can be super intimidating when you first start to play. It's not necessarily super easy when you first start to play. So asking questions is always a good thing. Don't be afraid to go on Facebook, on our Facebook pages, to ask questions if you have them, or call any of the golf shops around the area. We're very lucky to have a lot of very talented, knowledgeable people that are here to help you.
Absolutely, well said.
If you have any questions that you'd like answered, or if you'd like to take some lessons here at beautiful Edgewood Golf Course, you can please contact us in the golf shop at 701-232-2884. You can follow us on Facebook, fargogolf.net, all those great social media accessibilities that we have in a great Fargo Park District Golf.